Hey guys, so today I'm going to compare different overdrive pedals that I have. I have 6 different overdrive pedals on my board right now. I know it's kind of crazy. Yeah, I mean, I love overdrive pedals as they're my favorite guitar pedals because there's just so many like interesting variations and stuff. I know the circuits are all kind of like similar if you dig into it, but yeah, there's all these different companies making all sorts of variations on overdrives. I think compared to any other pedal type, like you can look at the modulation types, right? You can look at the reverb, delay, and stuff. Of course, there's other kinds of these kind of pedals, but for overdrives, I find there's just so many different overdrives out on the market. So me being the curious person that I am, I kind of want to try all of them. And yeah, I have 6 different overdrives now on my board, and I really do need to get rid of one. I think this is a little bit too much. So yeah, the main purpose of this video is for me to find out which overdrive I like the least, I guess, so that yeah, I can finally get rid of one of these overdrives. I think it's a little bit too much to have 6. So yeah, the 6 overdrives on the board is I have an Ibanez/Godlike, which is a US distributor, the former US distributor of Maxon pedals, made this mod for the Ibanez Tube Screamer with the original designer of the Tube Screamer circuit, which is Mr. Susumu Tamura from Maxon. And yeah, they collaborated with him to make this pedal. It's called the Tamura mod TS9TM. It's his version of the modded TS9. They also make a modded TS808, which is more expensive for some reason. But yeah, this pedal is supposed to be, the mod is supposed to give this pedal like a little bit of a upper mid-range kind of boost, I guess, as compared to the regular mid-range boost that the normal Tube Screamers get. Increase like the clarity and detail. They have some like magic op amp chip inside of it, which is supposed to be the best op amp chip, I guess, for Tube Screamers. Most responsive, touch responsive, dynamic, more detailed, etc., more clarity. So yeah, and yeah, this is a $300 pedal, so this is probably one of the most expensive pedals on this board, along with the Holy Grail. So yeah, this is a really expensive pedal. Yeah, and I think part of that reason is just because they're limited production. They're not made like they have to be modified, right, by Godlike every time. So they're limited production, and I guess they want to advertise the original designer of the Tube Screamer collaboration. I'm sure he gets some money from this as well. So anyways, yeah, this is an interesting variation of the Tube Screamer. It's essentially a TS9, but a modded version of the TS9 that should sound a little bit different. Although when I tested this pedal, it didn't sound all that different from a normal Tube Screamer, but obviously it sounds very good. Yeah, but it doesn't sound like all too different. It does sound different though. They did change out the diodes and did change out the chip. It's not a JRC 4558, it's something different. I'm not sure what it is. But yeah, they use the same chip as the Maxon Apex 808 actually, which is a $400 Tube Screamer pedal. Anyway, so yeah, this is a really expensive Tube Screamer. And then I have the Wampler Tumnus, which is a clone of the Klon circuit. So the Klon Centaur is one of the most famous, most copied overdrive circuits aside from the Tube Screamer. I think the Tube Screamer is definitely the most copied, but the Klon circuit is unique from the Tube Screamer, and that's interesting because not many overdrive circuits are actually totally unique, but the Klon is a unique circuit. And yeah, there's a lot of copies of Klon Centaurs on the market, the Wampler Tumnus being one of them, actually probably one of the more popular ones. And yeah, it's essentially I think it's a little bit different from the original Klon Centaur. It's actually Brian Wampler's take on it, but it's affordable. It's $150. It's in this mini pedal format. I've had this for many years, and yeah, I do like the fact that it's a bit of a different sound than Tube Screamer. Tube Screamer is very mid-range heavy. The Klon circuit is less mid-range heavy. It's still kind of like it gives a mid-range boost, but it's more of there's like more of a clean sound into it actually. So a lot of people use it as kind of a boost. But it's definitely like more clean sounding compared to a Tube Screamer. So you do get a little bit more headroom with the Klon circuits. And then I have the Tubesteader Lightkeeper. This is actually a $250 pedal that's handmade in Canada. And these two are actually, all these are boutique pedals essentially, because this one is modded by Godlike. Yeah, this is a boutique pedal, right? It's hand built by Brian Wampler or his team. And yeah, the Tubesteader is hand built in Canada by one guy in Montreal. So this is an expensive pedal because it actually has an actual vacuum tube inside of it. This is a I think it's a 12AX7. Yep, it's an ECC 3083 or 12AX7 preamp tube inside of here, and there is kind of like a preamp circuit inside of here. So it's based on the clean channel of the Dumble ODS, which is one of the most expensive guitar amps you can buy on the market. So yeah, it's essentially this pedal is it's really good for having light grit, like light gain overdrive, or just like a clean boost. So they actually, Tubesteader actually makes a full version of the ODS circuit called the Beekeeper, which it has that clean boost, light grit overdrive, but also gets more heavier into that. I don't have that because I have the Holy Grail overdrive, which is basically the overdrive circuit of the Dumble. But yeah, this is basically the clean boost side, and it's very, very versatile. I really like it. The fact that you can actually add another mid boost push on this button right here. So this switch, basically you can now add an additional mid boost push, and you can adjust the 3-band EQ right here. Very, very versatile. I would say that this pedal is basically similar or akin to an MXR Timmy. So if you guys know the Timmy pedal, that's another famous boutique pedal that was recently mass produced by MXR, which I tried out as well. It's definitely more popular than this pedal. So if you guys are looking to buy an MXR Timmy or have an MXR Timmy, you can think of this pedal as being something similar in this comparison, because it's really meant to be a transparent overdrive type of boost sound, a very light overdrive or clean boost, and that's basically what the Timmy is good at as well. This essentially replaced my MXR Timmy because I like the sound a little bit better. I mean, the MXR Timmy was a good pedal, but yeah, this one just does a little bit more. It's a very versatile pedal. And then I have the Tumnus Blackbox Overdrive 2. This pedal is essentially based on the Marshall Bluesbreaker pedal, but it adds a few of its own circuit modifications and stuff. It's actually a full range overdrive. So when I tested this out, I was surprised by how much gain it had. It's essentially like a full tone OCD or a Keeley Fat Mod or a Boss Blues Driver, like that kind of full range pedal. Like it can go from like very low gain, so kind of like Timmy-ish, but then you can go all the way up to near fuzz territory. Like I can get like a big muffed pie sound out of this thing. So that's what kind of surprised me about this Blackbox Overdrive 2. You know, I thought it was going to be like, oh, Bluesbreaker circuit, it's going to be like, low gain, transparent, but it has a lot more gain on tap than I expected. So this thing actually it's a full range overdrive pedal. So it's, yeah, more akin to like a full tone OCD, I guess. But it might be even more versatile than the OCD, because the OCD only has 3 knobs, but this one has an additional preamp, which is this is kind of like a preamp boost knob where you can add in more clean sound pre-circuit or something like that. It's very similar to volume knob in my experience, and a presence knob as well. Also, there's additional dip switches inside of this pedal where you can kind of change the sound signature of this pedal. You can actually change it from a little bright setting to like a darker setting, I think. Right now I think it's on the darker setting, so it does feel like it adds a more low end and stuff. But yeah, it's a very interesting pedal. Definitely had more gain on tap than I was expecting. And then I have the Gtown Holy Grail Overdrive. Like I said, this pedal is basically a Dumble style pedal, or D style, and it's meant to emulate the overdrive channel of the Dumble ODS, a very expensive tube amp. And yeah, I basically use this in conjunction with the Tubesteader Lightkeeper to kind of emulate like a Dumble circuit. But this is probably one of the best Dumble style pedals I've heard, because previously I had the Wampler Euphoria, and the Euphoria is also a very versatile pedal as well. Just want to mention that I'm nothing against the Wampler Euphoria. I used it for many years. Just that when I compared it to this pedal kind of just won out. It's yeah, I just like the tone of this pedal a little bit better. They're both very versatile pedals. The Euphoria probably does the transparent overdrive stuff a lot better than this pedal does, but this one does the Dumble style sound better than the Euphoria does, I think. So yeah, just nothing is like, no pedal's like, objectively better, but it's just for my tastes, right? So the Euphoria is a very nice, versatile overdrive that can be transparent, right? And it also has type of Dumble sounds in it. But this pedal is not as transparent as the Euphoria, but it does the Dumble sound better, and that's just what I needed. So I kept this one and I sold the Euphoria. So yeah, that's the this one is very expensive, by the way. This is a $300 pedal, and that's not because they sold it for $300. It's because the original builder was Russian, and because there is a there's pretty much an embargo on Russian products right now because of the Ukraine in war, basically. So it's very hard to get this pedal now. That's why the prices went up. Originally, I think this was $150, so it wasn't meant to be $300. Just went up to $300 because it's hard to get this pedal now. And oh yeah, the Blackbox Overdrive 2. This was about $150 retail, but now because they're hand built, this is a very boutique pedal as well. They're hand built by one guy. So again, you had to join a wait list if you want to actually get it at the retail price. So yeah, I ended up paying a bit more for this. I paid like $170 for it, but retail price was $150. Same thing, this thing retail price is $150, but I ended up paying more for it because it's hard to get. And then finally I have the MXR Duke of Tone. Now this is a mass-produced pedal based on a boutique circuit. So the original pedal was the Analog Man Prince of Tone, which was a very hard to get pedal. You also had to join a wait list. That's a boutique pedal, you know, all hand built and stuff. So that pedal's hard to get for a lot of people. So MXR teamed up with Analog Man, which is Mike Pira, and to make this pedal, which is essentially a Prince of Tone. It's just a mass-produced version. And this pedal is also pretty versatile as well, because it could be a boost, and the boost is actually, it's pretty good. It's not as good as the Tube Starter Lightkeeper or the MXR Timmy, but it does it fairly well. And then it has the OD setting, which is little bit of a light grit overdrive, and a distortion setting, which is like a higher gain setting. I would say that the Duke of Tone is interesting because it's like almost like a jack of all trades, master of none. So the boost setting is good. It's not as good as an MXR Timmy or a Tube Starter Lightkeeper at doing a light, like transparent type of boost or light overdrive. Then the overdrive setting is good, but it's not as good at not as good as a Tube Screamer or a Wampler Tumnus at getting that medium grit overdrive tone. And then the distortion is good, but it's not as good as, like, say, the Blackbox Overdrive 2 or a full tone OCD at getting that really high gain overdrive sound. So it's interesting because, yeah, the Duke of Tone kind of has all those types of tones in there. It's just not the best at all of them. It's not the best at any of them, actually, but it's good enough at all these things. So that's my personal take on it. Yeah, if you guys are looking for, like, you know, just one of these settings, then there's better options. Like I said, MXR Timmy is probably better at getting that really transparent, clean boost, light grit overdrive. Then a medium gain overdrive, yeah, you know, Tube Screamer, any of the Maxon Tube Screamer is actually really good as well. Or the Wampler Tumnus for a medium gain overdrive, or, you know, Klon circuits. And then the heavier overdrive, yeah, like the Snouse Blackbox or the Full Tone OCD, Keeley Fat Mod, those can all do like the really heavy overdriven sound well, or even the Gtown. The Gtown can actually do that as well, get a heavier gain overdrive. So yeah, not really the best at any of these modes, but the fact is, I think the Prince of Tone and also the Duke of Tone is renowned for its versatility because it does have all three of these different modes on tap, and they're good enough. Not the best, but they're good enough for a lot of people. So previously, I think with the Analog Man Prince of Tone, the price is like $300 or something like that, secondhand. I'm not sure like how long, you know, factoring the cost of the wait time and everything. But yeah, definitely the MXR Duke of Tone is one of the most affordable pedals on here. It's $130, so that's very attainable, and it's pretty much in line with most pedals on the market. So yeah, that's definitely, in terms of the price, it's probably the most affordable pedal out of all these. Alright, so let's compare them. I have all these pedals running into a Milkman 1 Watt Plus, which is kind of a boutique amplifier company. It's made by one guy in San Francisco. He hand wires it and everything. So it's very similar to like a cross between a Fender Blonde amp and a Fender Blackface amp. So it's got a lot of nice clean headroom, which is good for a pedal platform. And I have everything plugged into a GNL ASOS Special, which is using kind of higher output single coil pickups. So these are called magnetic design, field design pickups. And yeah, like think of them as kind of like a cross between a P90 and Jazzmaster style single coil. So it's a fairly high output. It's more high output than a Fender single coil. Okay, that's the sound. Alright, so yeah, let's test all the pedals. I really should have laid this out from lowest gain to highest gain, right? So this is the lowest gain pedal, the Tube Starter Lightkeeper. Again, the MXR Timmy is very similar to what this pedal does. It's very light gain, transparent type overdrive, good for clean boost. you guys can hear without it on, and with two starter on, Lightkeeper on, because I have a little bit more gain on this thing. You guys can tell how transparent it is, right? This is good as a clean boost pedal. Again, without two starter like you. I'm on the neck pickup, by the way. And then with the Lightkeeper on. Definitely makes it louder. It's more of just a clean boost type of sound. And then I can add in the mid-range boost as well. It sounds like this. So that's where you get like kind of a mid boost, and then a little bit more grit. So it definitely sounds more of like a light grit overdrive in this setting. And it's very touch sensitive and dynamic. That's what I like about this pedal. Very touch sensitive, dynamic. You get that because it's tube powered. You also get kind of that compressed tube sag type of sound too. Very touch sensitive, which I like. Like I can dig into the strings, hard or soft. It's very responsive to that. Touch sensitive, right? Cool. You can do this. You can do this. You can play it loudly or softly, right? Very responsive to my volume knob on my guitar. So yeah, this pedal I'm definitely gonna keep because it's really really good for that clean boost, light grit or light gain overdrive type of sound. And it's also very versatile, right? So yeah, I mean I can also turn it up. Like this is low gain. It just sounds like a Timmy low gain, and if I can like crank it up. Definitely go to even like a mid-gain overdrive, right? It goes all the way up to mid-gain if you turn up the gain like that. So yeah, very versatile, right? I can use this as a clean boost. I can use this like a light gain overdrive, mid-gain overdrive. Definitely keeping this pedal. Okay, and next up in terms of the gain level, because I think that this is probably the lowest gain. I mean, the way I use it anyways. It's kind of like a boost, low gain. Probably the Duke of Tone, actually. The Duke of Tone doesn't have as much gain as I expected. So like right now, if we just turn all the knobs over to like 12 and just keep it on the boost setting, it's a clean boost. Right, so again, this is my clean tone with nothing. I turn on the Duke of Tone right here. Not much difference, right? It's almost the same. I mean, it's a little bit of a boost, of course. Yeah, it's just a little bit of a boost here. No difference, no coloration in my tone at all. So it's really just a clean boost right now. I can turn up the volume. And this is what I'm talking about. The Duke of Tone doesn't have as much gain as I expected. There's not much gain here. Even if I turn up the gain, it's not very colored at all. It's very transparent right now, so it doesn't really affect my tone that much on the boost setting. Just adds a little bit of gain and a grit, and what do they call it? They add a little bit of hair on the notes. Yeah, a little bit of hair on the notes, not much. So very light gain right now. So now if I move this back, so that's a clean boost. The clean boost setting is just a clean boost. It doesn't color the tone at all. It's very transparent. It just makes it louder. Then I can move to the OD setting, and it gets a bit louder. Actually, no, it doesn't get louder. It gets, let's see. I think it gets less louder actually. Like right now, that's my clean guitar tone. If I turn it on, yeah, very odd. It actually, the volume actually decreases, interestingly. Okay, so yeah, the OD setting, yeah, it has more gain, but the volume actually decreases. So I actually have to increase the volume to even get the same level that I had before. That's what I'm talking about. It's so weird, right? Like, if I turn the knobs up to 12, which is like my default setting for most pedals, it actually has less gain than, less volume, I should say, not less gain, less volume than my normal clean sound with no pedal on. It actually decreases the volume. Interesting. So yeah, I can increase the drive here. Touch sensitive as the Lightkeeper is. Not as dynamic as that. Yeah, it's a nice overdrive sound. So like I said, the Duke of Tone is not a master of any of these modes. It's just a jack of all trades, because it's not like there's definitely overdrive sounds I've heard I like better than this, but it's just good. It's good, but it's not great. Like I can get this type of sound with, maybe like a tube screamer, or I mean, this definitely sounds more like a like a tube screamer type of sound, right? Yeah, but I think I would rather use just a dedicated tube screamer if I always wanted to use this mode. Yeah, okay. I mean, it's a good overdrive tone. It's just yeah, probably if I want to use a dedicated tube screamer, I just use that. And then distortion mode is even higher gain, of course. Yeah, again, it's a nice, usable setting. It's just not the best distortion tone I've heard, but it's good. to the OD mode again. See, now is a good time to compare this to the Tube Screamer. So I have the Tamura mod TS9TM Tube Screamer. Let's compare it to that, because I think the mode I will use the most on the Gtown is probably the Overdrive mode, because I think the distortion is just okay. I think the Overdrive mode sounds better than the distortion mode actually on this. And then the clean boost setting I don't need to use because I have the Lightkeeper for that. So probably if I use this pedal, it's going to be on the Overdrive setting, and I guess the Overdrive setting is trying to be like a Tube Screamer. So let's compare it to the Tube Screamer. So this Tube Screamer, yeah, actually again, clean tone. The Tube Screamer. Yeah, definitely compare this to the Gtown here. Is there any much difference here actually? Similar actually. I can turn up the level and drive on this. Let's see what happens. Actually, let's compare it to the distortion setting here. There might be a little bit more, what is it, harmonics on this one. I'm gonna just try this again. It sounds fairly similar though actually. Actually, interestingly enough, because I think the Gtown is very much something shifted on the high end here, because I think in general the Gtown just seems that has more high end compared to the other pedals here, but not as much low end. And then Tube Screamer. Yeah, the Gtown definitely has more high end. I think the Tube Screamer is more mid-rangey still. Yeah. So yeah, the Tube Screamer is still more mid-rangey compared to the Gtown's Overdrive mode, I think. At least to my ears. Can raise the level a bit more. And raise the tone as well. Okay, let's try that. Yeah, the Gtown definitely has more high end, but the Tube Screamer is more mid-rangey. Yeah, so they're a bit different. Interesting. I think the tube screamer just has an iconic, like the sound is so like once you hear it, you just know that it's a tube screamer, right? It's just it's such an iconic sound. When I turn it on, I just, yeah, that's that classic kind of tone I hear in so many guitar solos on, like, you know, best-selling records and stuff like that. Stevie Ray Vaughan really comes to mind. John Mayer. It's that classic tone. Yeah, so it's a bit different than the Duke of Tone for sure. I just feel like the Duke of Tone is kind of like a jack of all trades, master of none. But it's I mean, it's all very usable tones, right? And it's got that distinctive shift in the high range. I think that the treble in the high end in here is very prominent compared to the other pedals I've used here. Yeah, definitely I can hear it really accentuates the treble. All right, the next highest gain overdrive on here would be the Wampler Tumnus. So this is a Klon circuit. Again, clean sound. Turn this on. Klon is similar to Tube Screamer in the sense that it's a mid-gain overdrive. So it's not as high gain as the Holy Grail or the Blackbox, but it's more high gain than the Lightkeeper and most of the Duke of Tone's range. So let's compare that, and then so that's the Klon, and then the. You know what? It's actually it's pretty similar actually. Definitely more of a clean. The Klon circuit has more like doesn't boost the mid range as much, and definitely hear more of a clean headroom in the Klon, I think. So yeah, I can turn up the treble, maybe lower the gain a bit. Turn up the volume actually as well. Get some low gain overdrive again, like an MXR Timmy or something, and then let's see if the Tube Screamer can actually do that. Leave the volume, turn like that. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So definitely, you guys can maybe hear that difference. Klon's like. So even if I turn down the drive on the Tube Screamer, I'm still getting that mid-range type of typical Tube Screamer type of sound. But with the Klon, I am getting more of a cleaner sound, I think, in general. So yeah, there's definitely a difference there. Turn it up like this. So you guys can hear, right? There's a lot more clean in this signal. definitely more clean headroom in the Tumnus circuit than the TS9 circuit to my ears, right? Okay, so if I play the same thing here. You guys can hear how there's still kind of like a light amount of gain here. Yeah, so it's just in general, yeah, the Klon circuit definitely has more clean blended into it compared to the Tube Screamer circuit, which is more, I can always hear that pushed up mid range in that. So yeah, definitely the Klon is an interesting circuit. It's very unique. It really is like ideal mid gain overdrive sound. So it's kind of like you want to have some gain in it, but you also kind of want to have a clean in there as well, like a clean signal in there blended into it. So yeah, it's really interesting. So I'm definitely keeping the Tumnus because I think the Klon is just really unique to have as its own overdrive circuit. All right, so now the next highest gain, I don't actually know which one has more. Both of these can have a lot of gain. Let's do, I actually think the Blackbox can go to fuzz territory. So let's try the Holy Grail. So Gtown Holy Grail overdrive again. So this is the D-type overdrive, Dumble type, and everything's set to 12 right now. Actually, that's, again, clean sound right here. And then with the Holy Grail on. Okay, you guys can hear right off the bat it has more gain on tap. So this is on the rounded mode. I can actually change it to open mode. Similar, or the sharp mode right here. I think I prefer the round mode, still the best. Round and open are pretty close. Let's turn up volume and mids. I can even turn up the mids to make it sound more like a Tube Screamer. Compare that. So if I do this, compared to the Tube Screamer here, sounds pretty similar to the Tube Screamer, right? So listen to this again, right? And then Tube Screamer. Grail. Okay, I guess the Holy Grail does have, again, a bit more of a, not quite as mid-rangey as the Tube Screamer. It does have more mid-range than the Tumnus does. If I push up the mid-range so I can keep. I guess if I push up the mids, actually, because this does have a mid setting, if I turn up the mids on the Holy Grail, like it can get pretty close to the Tube Screamer. So yeah, like it gets pretty close. Turn this up. It's pretty close, actually. Actually, this still has more. Pretty close. I can dial in the Holy Grail overdrive pretty close to a Tube Screamer, actually, especially since this has a mids control on it. So yeah, I think that because I have the Holy Grail overdrive, which has that mids control, I can dial it in to sound pretty close to a Tube Screamer. So and it's more versatile than a Tube Screamer because I can make it sound like, you know, pretty higher gain than a Tube Screamer can sound, actually. So this is just a very versatile pedal. Let's see if I dial up the drive on here, switch it to open, and dial the mids a bit. I can get some pretty high gain out of this pedal. So yeah, the Holy Grail is just so versatile. It's yeah, like I said, the Wampler Euphoria probably is even more versatile because it can actually go like really low gain because it can be so transparent. So I think the Euphoria has more range, but the Holy Grail goes anywhere from mid gain all the way to not near fuzz territory, but for the mid gain, I think to the higher gain, the Holy Grail is really good, and it has more range than the Tube Screamer does. I think it's in the Tube Screamer range. You can sound like a Tube Screamer, but it has a little bit more range than that. So yeah, the Holy Grail is just a nice pedal. It's still pretty versatile. The highest gain pedal I have, I think, is a Blackbox Overdrive too. So clean sound. The Blackbox, turn on. Yeah, so right off the bat, you can hear how fat this pedal sounds. It's really fat. So compared to the Holy Grail, for example, back, yeah. So yeah, you can hear it's a very. I can make it sound pretty mid-rangey. So I would say the Holy Grail is mid-rangey-ish, close to the Tube Screamer, and then the Blackbox definitely has more low end. It has the most low end out of all these overdrive pedals. So I can turn up the gain, the volume on here. This really is a full range pedal. Yeah, actually, turn the tone a little bit. That the presence, actually, if I dial down the presence, you guys can hear really how much lower end it has, right? Like this. Dang, that's a lot of low end. So usually I increase the presence because it just has so much low end, like just to get some high end back. It's actually pretty touch sensitive as well. Definitely the Overdrive, the Blackbox Overdrive 2 is really unique, I think. I also can't get over the fact that if I turn everything up to 12 and just dial in right in the middle, because that's what I do with most pedals, right? This is my default settings, I dial into 12 o'clock. On this default setting, for some strange reason, right? This is my clean tone. And I turn on the Duke of Tone here. Why does the volume sound lower? That doesn't make any sense to me. Why does the volume sound lower than my clean sound? Like, than my bypass sound, right? That doesn't make any sense. If I turn on an overdrive, I'm expecting a louder sound. Why am I getting less sound? Only from the Duke of Tone do I get that. Every other pedal, I turn it to 12 o'clock, and it's louder as you would expect, right? Only the Duke of Tone, yeah, my bypass sound is louder. It doesn't make any sense to me. Duke of Tone, it lowers the volume. It doesn't make any sense. So that's the other thing I don't get about the OD setting on the Duke of Tone. The boost setting is, like, yeah, this is pretty much just the same, right? Yeah, the boost sound is pretty similar to my bypass sound. So, yeah, I can go over everything again. So again, I'll probably use the OD sound. I have to turn up the volume here, otherwise it's gonna lower my volume, which is stupid. But yeah, so clean sound, Duke of Tone, light gain overdrive, Holy Grail, definitely more overdrive on tap, the Blackbox Overdrive 2, a lot more overdrive on tap and plus more low end. Tube's better with both these on. Yeah, definitely nice, transparent, very transparent. And then the Tumnus, unique. It's kind of a blend between being it's like not completely transparent, but not completely colored either. It's like somewhere in between. It really is the in-between between the Lightkeeper and the Tube Screamer, I think. And then the Tube Screamer. Yeah, you get that classic mid-range push. Okay. Yeah, I think it's gonna go the Duke of Tone. I think that one's gonna go. I just don't find anything useful from it. I know it's the Prince of Tone, Duke of Tone is like this boutique pedal, right? The original pedal is based on the Prince of Tone is highly revered, respected. You know, a lot of guitarists use it, and it's not a bad pedal. I'm not saying it's a bad pedal. I just, for me, for my use case, out of all these overdrives, this is probably the least useful for me. I just don't find any setting I'd rather use on it over the other overdrives in this video, right? Like if I wanted to have a boost, I would just use the Lightkeeper for that. If I wanted a OD, I'd probably go for the Tumnus or the Tube Screamer. If I want distortion, I'd probably go for the Gtown or the Holy Grail or the Blackbox, right? For the higher gain sounds. So yeah, I think it's probably going to be the Duke of Tone that has to go. It's just, I know it's versatile and stuff. I just don't find any of the settings as good as any of these other pedals. And so that, you know, why would I use it, right? So yeah, that's it, guys. I finally found out, I guess, which pedal I'm going to get rid of on this pedal board. Out of the 6 overdrives, I needed to get rid of one. Just too many overdrives, right? So yeah, again, let me know in the comment section below what you guys think. Maybe you disagreed with my decision. Maybe you guys like the Duke of Tone better, but for me, I think it's kind of redundant on my board. I don't really need it. Any of the settings, I think I can have. The other overdrives just cover the other settings better than the Duke of Tone does. So yeah, that's probably going to be my decision here. So at least I reached a decision, I think. So yeah, the choice really was between the Duke of Tone and the Tumnus Tube Screamer, which one I was going to get rid of. And yeah, in the end, I think the Duke of Tone is the one I'm going to get rid of. I just don't find any of the settings as useful. And I do find like any of my other overdrives cover the settings on the Duke of Tone more. Even though the Duke of Tone is versatile, it doesn't really do any of the modes well enough for me. Whereas the Tumnus Tube Screamer, actually the one thing it does the best. Even though I can kind of dial in the sound with the Holy Grail, it's not exactly the same as the Tube Screamer. I do think that the Tube Screamer, especially this Tumnus one, it adds like, it's hard to describe, but it's just got that signature Tube Screamer sound that you hear on so many records, right? That signature mid-range push. And no matter how much I dial in the mids on the Holy Grail, it can sound very similar, but it's not the same. I think the Tumnus still does it better. So yeah, I think there's still a use for this Tube Screamer. It's just the best at what it does. Even though it's not versatile at all, it's probably the least versatile pedal on this pedal board, but the one thing that it does really, really well. It's just the best at it. Whereas the Duke of Tone, yeah, any of the settings, the other pedals does better, right? So yeah, the boost setting, I'd rather just use the Lightkeeper for that. The OD setting, I'd just rather use the Tumnus or the Tumnus. And then the distortion setting, the highest gain setting, I'd probably just use the Blackbox Overdrive or the Gtown Holy Grail. So there's really no setting here I would use over any of these other pedals. So I guess it makes sense. I mean, I realized that the original original pedal that this pedal is based on, the Prince of Tone, is widely revered. It's used by many guitarists. You know, people join wait lists for it. It's a highly respected pedal, and I'm not saying that this pedal's bad. It's a very good pedal. It's very versatile. Just in terms of my pedal board, given how many other overdrives I have, I just don't see the need for this one. It's probably the one that's the most redundant out of all these overdrive pedals. So that's probably the one I'm getting rid of. So yeah, let me know what you think, guys, of my decision. Do you agree with my decision to get rid of the Duke of Tone, or do you think I should have, or do you think that another pedal should have been the one to go? I know it's all subjective, right? For me, for my pedal board, I think the Duke of Tone is the one that's the least useful out of all these.